Never heard the names from nobody. And they was out of commission, and if they was killed in New York or Chicago or Philadelphia or somewhere like that, we would have known. We would have known about it. They was killed that night in New Brownsville and Blanco. They was murdered. And I'm not saying even if Frank Costello had this thing done. I believe that his organization put it together. Now, if you recall, and you go back in history, and you look, Frank Costello has been accused of some of the greatest assassinations ever was in history. And he was accused of Huey P. Long. And it wouldn't take much to get somebody like Long. But when it comes from a president of our country, and this is my opinion again, it's not nobody else's except mine. And what Frank has told me one night when he was a little bit high, he said that he's a big enough man that even the president would hire him. And I says, has the president ever hired you, Frank? He says, yeah, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And he said that he had the ways of getting something done that nobody else could do. And I didn't believe Frank at the time. I still, this day, don't know for sure if he's the one that hit Long or not, but he said he was. And if he could hit Long, well, he could organize anything to hit Kennedy. And I'm so sorry that my life had to have a part of even talking about the Kennedy assassination. That's one thing I've never felt clean about, but it was not anything what I did I could have done any different to save it. Because if I would have turned myself in and went into a police station, they wouldn't have believed me. And it would still happen there in Dallas. And I know that. And, but as I say, I had no idea that it was our great president that got killed. And I swore that night, my wife was crying, and she says, you got to do something about it. And I says, baby, nothing we can do about it, nothing. And she says, someday you prove what happened to him today. And I said, I'll do my best. And when she died here, she looked at me that last day, and she says, we lived a pretty clean life later, didn't we? I said, yes, we did, baby. And she mentioned Kennedy that day, that morning before she died. And I started at that time, trying to write books or get it out. But, nobody wanted the time. But you know what? If we don't listen about this, if people don't sit down and listen to what I have to say, I'll go to my grave and it'll be over with, and no one will ever know. But just think about it and see if what I'm telling you is not right, because I have no reason at this time to lie about anything, because my life is very short, and I'm not scared of dying, but I don't want to leave until I redo what I possibly could have stopped that day, but I don't know how I would have done it. But right now, I'm hoping that someday I'll get it straight, and then people know the truth. no matter how embarrassing the truth would be. Now, listen to me very carefully. So it's going to embarrass our government and this and that. But you know what? We've been embarrassed before. And this is in the past. And people know that Johnson was, he was for himself. And now I want you to remember one thing. The two men that I said that look a lot like those men become wealthy later. And I'm saying I've done my best, and this is over. This is like the end, and I don't know of anything else I can do except I'll be terribly embarrassed when this thing come out. But I am a man of my principle. I'm a man of my word, and I will stick to this if I live long enough to clear this mess up. And my life can't be cleared up because Hoover destroyed me years ago, and I can never die with a conscience free because of what he did. But if I could, help to bring the truth out about this, it would really make me die a lot easier. It'd make me die not in shame, it would make me die happy. And please look back at all of this, and let's don't ever let it happen again to nobody else. Because, when our government can have a man in power that can take an 18-year-old with a bad hip and put him a draft dodger and try to get him killed out there, we can't let this happen no more. I had to live that life, and that's what made me learn everything. That's what made me become a professional in every way. Because my whole lifetime, I was on guard, and I had to do things. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to go to prison for something they didn't do for 30, 40 years, or go in front of the firing squad for draft evasion. That's what could have happened in those days. Nobody wants that. And so one life was destroyed over that. And I'm not one bit ashamed of anything I did, because I did it to survive. But I am ashamed of myself by not realizing that was Kennedy that day. I'm ashamed of it, as smart as I was, that I did not put that together, that it was Kennedy. And I'm sorry for that, and that's the only thing that I'm sorry for that I ever did. And please, look at this thing again and try to get more out of it the second time. And take your time and look at each issue, and maybe you can make your own mind up how you feel about it. And that's all I can tell you. And I'm sorry that I put the damage on Earth like I did, but I had to. And I'm sorry about that. Thank you very much.